Good morning everyone and welcome to the class. In the previous class we have started our discussion regarding scope of political theory. Scope means what do we study in political theory? What are the topics, what are the subjects, sub-subjects which we study in political theory, and in this regard we have discussed that the main aspect which we study in political theory is values and ideals. These values and ideals are the basis of political theory, and this is the reason why we find that in many constitution of many countries, these values have been enshrined in the constitution itself. So that what is the reason behind mentioning these values in the constitution? The reason is to give importance to the values. The reason is to make the government abide by these ideals and values. The government must work according to the ideals and values which are given in the constitution. So values are the base of political theory, and in this regard we have also seen that the Constitution of India and the Constitution of United States of America, these constitutions have enshrined the ideals and values in the constitution itself. And the most important thing is that the constitution is not the product of 1 year or 2 year effort. Actually it's a very long process. The ideals and values which are given place in the constitution are those ideals, those values which are supported by thinkers like Plato and Aristotle. These are those ideals which are supported by thinkers like Rousseau, Karl Marx, Mahatma Gandhi, B.R. Ambedkar. So these are the thinkers whose ideals, whose principles, whose values have been given place in the constitution of our country also. So this is your 1.2, what do we study in political theory, and now I am discussing this. These documents did not just emerge overnight. They are built upon the ideas and principles debated almost since the time of Kautilya, Aristotle to Jean-Jacques Rousseau, Karl Marx, Mahatma Gandhi and B.R. Ambedkar. So the ideals, the values which are presented by these political theorists, these political thinkers, have been argued from that time also. And after a long time argument and long time debate, now it has been given place in the constitution. As far back as the 5th century BC, Plato and Aristotle discussed with their students whether monarchy or democracy was better. So if we go back to 5th century BC, even that time political thinkers like Plato and Aristotle were there. Aristotle was the student of Plato. So in 5th century BC, Plato and Aristotle are talking about forms of government. Which form of government is better, monarchy or democracy? So these are the ideal is democracy. The ideal is equality, because democracy is based on the principle of equality. Democracy is based on the principle of freedom. In modern times, we see Rousseau first argued for freedom as a fundamental right of humankind. Rousseau was the thinker who was the first modern thinker who supported the idea of rights of humankind. An individual must have some rights. So these are the thinkers, their ideals, their values are the inspiration for the present day constitutions. Nowadays we find that almost in every constitution there is a description of Bill of Rights. So Rousseau was the thinker who first started this, who first took initiative in saying that humankind must have some rights. Then we see Karl Marx. He argued that equality was as crucial as freedom. Karl Marx was the staunch supporter of equality. Before that, freedom was considered to be the most important ideal. But Karl Marx was the thinker who was the supporter of the concept of equality. And then we see that Mahatma Gandhi discussed the meaning of genuine freedom or Swaraj in his book Hind Swaraj. In 1909, Mahatma Gandhi has written this book, and in this book he has written about Swaraj. Swaraj means self-rule. Self-rule, it does not mean that arbitrariness. We are the ruler of ourselves, so we can rule in any way. No, this is not Swaraj. Swaraj is to rule in such a way that it can lead to common good. So this is the concept which was given by Mahatma Gandhi. Then Dr. Ambedkar, he vigorously argued that the scheduled caste and scheduled caste must be considered a minority. He was a staunch supporter of the interest of the scheduled caste, and for that purpose he argued that they must be given a status of minority, and the interest of minority must be protected by the constitution itself, and as such must receive special protection. Special protection is the provisions of reservation. That is the way through which we protect our this community, the scheduled caste. So our preamble enshrines freedom and equality. In our preamble, these ideals are there written: equality, freedom. The chapter on rights in the Indian Constitution abolishes untouchability in any form. You have read about this in chapter 2 in the first book under fundamental rights, that article 17 abolishes untouchability. Gandhian principle find a place in directive principle of state policy. So whatever was the philosophy of Gandhi, that find a place in our constitution in the fourth part, that is directive principle of state policy. So what is the what are we want to convey? The message is that political theory is based on ideals and values, and these ideals and values are so important that they have been given place in the constitution itself, and these values and ideals are not the result of one day or 1 year effort, but it's a long process. From 5th century BC, this type of discussion has started, and even today we are discussing all these things, because there is always scope of improvement. There cannot be any society where no problem of inequality is existing. There cannot be any society where lack of freedom is not a problem for any group or the other group, for one group or the other group. So these are the ideals and values which have been supported by various thinkers, and we give them proper place in our constitution, because we want that our government must function by following those ideals, because then only we can achieve whatever is the aim of our constitution: a just society, an equal society, a society where everyone is getting opportunity to develop his or her personality, to develop his or her capabilities. So this is the importance of values and ideals, and these are the most important part of the study of political theory. Now, political theory deals with the ideas and principles that shape constitution, government and social life in a systematic manner. So, just now I told you the same thing. The political theory, it deals with ideals and principles, and these ideals and principles are present in the constitution, and it is expected from the government that, not expected, but it is binding on the government that it must follow those ideals and principles. And in this way we want to our social life, we want to improve. We want to improve our social life. We want to achieve a just society. It clarifies the meaning of concepts such as freedom, equality, justice, democracy, secularism, and so on. So, in political theory, we find that the concept of equality, liberty, justice, rights, secularism, all these are clarified. By studying political theory, we become aware of all these concepts. What is the meaning of the concept? What are the various aspects of the concept? How this concept is not being practiced in the society? What are the problems? So all these things are discussed in the political theory. It probes the significance of principles such as rule of law, separation of power, judicial review, etc. So there are so many principles. Other than values and ideals, there are concepts, there are principles like rule of law, separation of power, judicial review. All these are principles. You have came through. You have gone through all these concepts, all these principles when you were studying your first book, that was Constitution at Work. We have adopted rule of law. We have adopted the system of rule of law. In our constitution, there is provision for separation of power. We have also adopted the provision of judicial review, though it is not given a place in the name is not mentioned in the constitution, but in practice our judiciary exercise this power. So all these principles are present in the political theory. These are the basis on which a constitution is framed. These are the basis on which a government work. These are the basis on which we can move towards achieving a just society. So all these concepts and principles are there in the political theory. This is done by examining the arguments advanced by different thinkers in defense of these concepts. So why we accept, why we give these concepts so importance? We want that they must be mentioned in the constitution. We want that the government must abide by the provisions of the constitution, so that these ideals and values, these concepts and principles can be made realistic. So why we are giving so much importance to all these principles and concepts? Because we have seen that so many political thinkers are there from time immemorial, from 5th century BC. the first political thinker is considered to be Socrates, who was the teacher of Plato. He was a Greek thinker, and he was considered to be the first political thinker. So from that time, these principles, these concepts, these values and ideals are supported by these political thinkers, and it is our duty, it is our effort to abide by those principles. It is our effort to follow those principles in practice also. Though Rousseau or Marx or Gandhi did not become politicians, now you must understand the difference between politician and political thinker. We are talking about Rousseau, we are talking about Aristotle, we are talking about Plato, Karl Marx, Mahatma Gandhi, B.R. Ambedkar. So they are not politicians, they are political thinkers. So what is the difference between political thinker and politician? Politician and political thinker. What is the difference between the two? Though Rousseau or Marx or Gandhi did not become politicians, their ideas influenced generations of politicians everywhere. They are the thinkers. They are showing the path. The path is not, they are not showing the path, but we can say that they have created the path. And the politicians are moving on that path. So political thinkers are not something who are there only to influence the politics of any country. Political thinkers are there who are providing the base for the government, and they are influencing not their current generation, but so many generations are being influenced by these political thinkers because of their ideals, because of their principles. So their ideas influence generations of politicians everywhere. Politicians are just using the power. Political thinkers are not to use the power. They are there for the welfare of the common mass. Gandhi was never hold any position, any post, because he was not there for power. He was there for the common good. His motto was not to grab power. His motto was not to become the prime minister or any like any post, but he was there only to promote the common good. How, what should be the ideals and what should be the values on the basis of which a society can be built, which provide all kind of positive things to its members. So this is a political thinker. There are also contemporary thinkers who draw upon them to defend freedom or democracy in our own time. So the contemporary thinkers, who are the present time thinkers, they also get strength from these old time thinkers. These political thinkers are a source of inspiration for the new political thinkers also. Besides examining arguments, political theorists also reflect upon our current political experiences and point out trends and possibilities for the future. So, political theorists are there to examine the situation, what kind of situation is prevailing in the country. If any incident is taking place, they analyze that incident, and they also reflect upon our current political experiences, whatever we are experiencing at current time. They also reflect on that experience and point out trends and possibilities for the future. So whatever is happening in the present, on the basis of that they say what can how can be the future of the society. So now I am proceeding to the next paragraph. But is all this relevant for us now? Have we not already achieved freedom and democracy? So what we see that in our constitution there is a provision for freedom, there is provision for equality, there is provision for democracy. Everything is given in our constitution. So now we don't need to talk about all these things because we have achieved everything, isn't it? Is it so? क्या सच में ऐसा है? Have we achieved freedom? Have we achieved the goal of equality? Is democracy completely successful? No. What we find that when I was teaching you the first book, at that time I was also saying that to make something in to provide something through a constitution is rather easy. That is not a difficult task. To make provision for Bill of Rights in the constitution, yes, it's a big thing, but it can be done. But its implementation, its execution is very, very important. And what we find that in spite of all these provisions in the constitution, and if we consider the case of our country only, we see that 70 years have been passed since the implementation of the constitution. Still we find that we have not able to achieve all these ideals and goals in our social life. Untouchability has been removed by the constitution. Still we find there are communities in our country which face this untouchability, which are facing the practice of untouchability. Still nothing is happening. But when the constitution has made provision for the abolition of untouchability, so what is the utility? Utility is this, that in most of the parts of the country this untouchability has been removed. Okay, but in some parts of the country, some communities are still facing this problem. So the first utility is that in many parts it has been abolished in reality also. And in those parts, with those communities which are still facing that problem, we can say that the constitutional provision gave them strength to fight against this system of untouchability. It gave them strength to fight back. No one can support the practice of untouchability because it has been prohibited by our constitution. So no one can support it openly in public. So this is the utility, that by giving them place, by giving these ideals a place in constitution, we present a goal before the society, where we want to go, what is our destination. Okay. So while India is free and independent, questions regarding freedom and equality have not ceased to crop up. We are an independent country, we are a free country, still we find that there are questions regarding freedom and equality. There are problems when people are facing lack of freedom, when people are not treated equally. This is because issues concerning freedom, equality, democracy arise in many areas of social life, and they are being implemented in different sectors at different paces. So they are getting implemented. We can't say that it is useless to provide them in the constitution. They are getting implemented in many parts of the country, but at different pace. At some places we find that the goal have been fully achieved, but in some places we find that the goals have not been achieved at all. So it is getting implemented, but at different paces. So we can say, for instance, although equality may exist in the political sphere in the form of equal rights, it may not exist to the same extent in the economic or social sphere. So in our constitution we have given equal political rights. We have right to vote, we have right to contest election, we have right to form associations and political parties. These are all our political right. So everyone is exercising this political right. But what we find that the rights which are given in social sphere are not getting implemented 100%. It may not exist to the same extent in the economic and social sphere. So political democracy or political equality is easy to achieve, but social and economic equality or democracy is not easy to achieve, because they need to change our mindset, and this mindset is not going to change by constitution only. For the change of this mindset, we need to change the overall situation of the society. People may enjoy equal political rights but still be discriminated against socially because of their caste or poverty. So all are using their right to vote, but that is only political sphere of life. In economic sphere, in social sphere, people are discriminated because of their caste, because of their lower economic status. So this is the condition that in all aspect of life the aim of equality has not been achieved, and this is what B.R. Ambedkar expressed this view in the Constituent Assembly, that only by providing political equality we will not be able to achieve this social and economic equality. So some people may have a privileged place in society while others are deprived even of basic necessities. So this problem is existing in almost everywhere. The gap between the rich and the poor, especially in our country. Some are able to achieve whatever goals they set for themselves, while many are unable even to go to school so that they can have decent jobs in the future. So this is the inequality which is prevailing in the society. All are not treated equally. There are many people in our society who are not able to achieve the basic necessities of life. They are not able to even to go to school. And if they are not able to go to school, then their condition cannot be improved in the future. There is total despair. No hope is there. So the most important thing is hope. Hope must be there, na? कहाँ से hope आएगा? When a person is not able to send his or her children to a school, then what is the hope from the future? What is the expectation from the future? Their condition is not going to improve. So this is the situation which is prevailing in our country. So it's not that if these ideas and values, concept and principles have been mentioned in the constitution, then only by mentioning in the constitution the society will achieve all these things. It's not like that. So it is always a relevant issue. These the value of freedom, the value of equality, it will always remain a relevant issue. Okay. So now today our discussion is only this much, and again in the next class we will discuss the more about the scope of political theory.